Hi, this is Brett with the Support STRAC team. Today we're going to go over how to do a PCR. So to begin, we're going to start off with the two icons that you might see on your device. The difference between the two, obviously, are color, but also what they represent. So the red one, which I have labeled desktop, is the web version of Elite ImageTrend. Now this is where you would go if you're trying to look up a run, or if you had to do something online, you could do it through this. This is also good for printing the reports, just looking up different information. The other, and the one that we're going to focus on mostly today, is what they refer to as field. Now this one is the icon that most of you will have on your devices that are set in your apparatus to leave the station. You do need to start off the morning logging in connected to the internet. That way it can upload all the information that is new to the system. And you'll see more about that when we log in. So let's go ahead and get started on field. I'm just going to click into it. And you can see now it's given me my login page. So you would put your proper information here and then simply sign in. This is what the dashboard page looks like. Now, I am showing you in the demo version that was created by STRAC, more of a training version. Your agency will have different things turned on and off. And that's the neat thing about this program, is your agency can configure it to the things that you're trying to do. Some of the information we share across the region, and everything's going to look the same on those things that we share. But again, your agency can turn on and off different options, what your agency needs in order to collect the PCRs and the data that it's looking for. So let's step into the dashboard and see some of the features that it has. Of course, if you look over to the left, you can see that it says incidents and visits. Now this is good for different reasons. One, if you have an MIH type program that some agencies do, you'll have the number of visits, and you can simply just collect those as you go along, doing your normal reporting that you would build out into ImageTrend. For the vast majority of our agencies, though, we're going to be looking at incidents. This is where it's going to keep track of how many incidents we make in that shift, whatever that is, that operational period that you have. Those will list out here in different individual runs that you would actually be able to see listed out in this section right here. This is a web-based program that is simply logged into. In this case, the browser I'm using is Chrome. You can use different browsers, but Chrome is what they recommend, and Chrome is what we are using for this demo today. And you can simply see that it has the address listed here in order for me to create a new PCR. This is our dashboard page, and you can see that right there. Okay, so it does depend on the cache memory of the web browser that you're in. And so that's why you don't just want to go clear the cache memory of your web browser, because that will delete the information that you have sitting on your dashboard. More about that in a second. Let's go ahead and go down here to the left. I can choose my crew by simply adding or removing if somebody needs to be removed off of a crew, maybe mid-shift or whatever the reason. Your agency will put in a list of its crew members, and that's where you would click this and you would scroll down to find who that is. You could also start to type in that person's name. For instance, my name is Brett. So if I type in Brett, it'll show me all the Bretts in my agency. If there's only one, I would just click on that, and then that would be good. Level. What is my level of training? So in this case, you would just simply pick what it is. Your point of contact in your agency for ImageTrend can also have these preset. So whenever the person's name comes up, it'll automatically preset what their level of training is. That's a neat feature, and it saves you a step. Roles. So we do have to pick the role of the person, what they're going to be doing on this particular case, or maybe for this shift, just depending on how your agency likes to do its manpower. In this case, we do have to have a primary patient caregiver. So I would click that for at least one of the people listed. Then I would hit OK. And then that would start listing it out for me. These are the crew members. So for the unit and shift, it's kind of the same thing. I would click on this. I can pick the unit that I want. And again, your agency would put the list of units. And also, like before, they can tie in unit and call sign to be together. So when you click in one, the other one automatically comes up. Also will tell you automatically what it is. Now, this is work that has to be done on the backside. Support@strac.org would be glad to help you do that if for whatever reason your point of contact in your agency is not able to do it. So we just simply hit OK. And now it's listed out our call sign, the medic unit, the level of care we're providing. Even though up here I did not select a crew, this is where that would list it out. The shift, again, I picked a shift earlier. Your agency is going to build out what it's calling its shifts. So it may be an 8-hour shift. It could be a 24-hour shift. It could be A, B, and C. It just depends, but your agency will build out the values that it wants in here. Medical device, this is referring to any kind of 12 lead or 4 lead that you may be using. Again, your agency, if you have one or more devices, it'll be listed here, and you would simply click the one that corresponds with whatever you're doing that day. And that's kind of this left side. This is setting up who our crew is going to be, the unit that we're going to be running in, and of course the medical device that we're going to be using while we're in that. So if you slide down here to the bottom, you can see a tab called Inbox. Now in this program, you have a built-in email suite. It is encrypted, and it only stays within your agency. It doesn't go anywhere else. Most agencies already have their email system and the way that they communicate by that. This is not to replace that, but if an agency wanted to, they could use this. So if I click on this button, it's going to give me a choice. I can go to Inbox. Now, if you remember in the very beginning when I showed you the icons, the red one is the web, that one deals straight with the server. If you click this button right here, that'll take you to that version. And yes, it will log you out of the field version. And that's okay. If you need to do this, this is a great shortcut to go to the web version, and you can start to traverse around in there. Simply put, when you're done there, you would just hit the X, close out the browser, and then hit the blue icon again on your desktop to re-log into field. It's as easy as that. You don't have to go back and forth. It's an easy way to transition back and forth between the two. If you decide to stay in field, which we're going to do, it just means I'm staying in field on the dashboard. So as you can see right here, it does say Elite Field, which is another big indicator that you're in the right program, that field is what you're trying to use. So down to these buttons again. So my announcements tab, if I click this, if I had an announcement, then it would be listed here. And in this case, you can see that there's one already posted. Now, who puts the announcements in here? It can be anything from ImageTrend, the company. Maybe they're doing an update, as companies do on software. It could be from the region, which is STRAC. And occasionally they do things that they like to post out to people. And then also your home agency may choose to put announcements in here. So if you see an announcement, it's always good to check it out just to see what it is. And how you'll know that you have one, under inbox or announcements, there'll be a red box and it'll have a white number in it. That white number is simply indicating how many, in this case, messages or announcements that you would have. So if you see red, go ahead and click on it and it'll give you that new announcement that you haven't seen before. Okay, moving on, the settings button. This is where we can start to do some things to the dashboard and also set us up for success as we go forward. In the beginning, when you first log in, you're going to get a box that pops up, and that's going to show you that it's syncing in all the information. But let's say you're mid-shift and your point of contact or your admin says, hey, we want you to sync your new information in. Maybe they added some new medications that you just started carrying that day, and they wanted you to be able to access that for your PCR. It could be a number of reasons, but you have some choices here. You can sync the new changes, the things that just happened. I highly recommend those syncing all resources. So I'm going to do that real quick. And it's also going to show you this will happen when you first log in as well, every morning. So when I mentioned before, you need to be connected to the internet when you first log in. This is why, because it's going to grab the most up-to-date information and it's going to sync it to your device. Okay, so that's the settings button. These two, obviously self-explanatory. There is an external keyboard setting. And when you're in your PCR box, that pops up with a way to enter in information. If you like that, then you keep it on. If you don't, you just go to settings and then you click on it and it gives you the choice to turn it on and off. It's your preference, however you want to do it. But please note, when you set it up on this device this way, the next person coming in, just make sure that they know how to turn it back on if that's what they want to do. All right, log out. Again, self-explanatory. If I'm done with my shift, whatever that is, I simply hit log out and it takes me back to my desktop. The person is logged in this case, it's me, Brett, and that's what this is going to show here. So logging in and out is important because remember, if you're connected to the web, anytime you log in, it's going to sync up all the newest information, and that's what you want. Up the right side here, you can see it's just views. So here we have our example of different runs that we've created. And again, you can take a look at the views over here to see which way you would like to see them laid out for you. This is the one that defaults. Here's the squares if you like the squares. And of course, here's the other one that you can choose. Now, each of them shows different information as you go through it. You just simply need to pick the one that you like. Okay, so let's take a look at the top buttons on the dashboard page. We have all, none, post, and delete. So these are action buttons that we can utilize in our dashboard. So what do they do? If I click all, you can see that they've selected all the runs that I have showing. If I don't want all of them, or let's say I've clicked all of them, but I don't really want to do that, I can simply do the none button, and that turns them off or deselects them. Let's say that I just wanted to do one and I'm interacting with it. I can do it individually, and I can also deselect them individually. If I select the one that I want to post, I can select it, hit the post button, which is then going to give me the option to send this PCR to the server, which ultimately is what you want to do with all your PCRs, because we do want to get them off of this device and save them on the server. If I wanted to delete one, I could simply do that, hit the delete button, and it would delete it off of here. Each agency may determine whether or not everybody can use the delete function or not. That'll be up to your agency. Okay, so now we've gone through the dashboard page, and what we'll start to do is see what the PCR looks like next.